If you're watching this video, chances are you're an actor and you feel stuck and you feel like you're not progressing in your career the way that you want to. Or there are questions that you have that just haven't been answered in a way that you feel actually fulfills the need that you have. Well, I am here because I'm going to be teaching a class at closing credits. That class costs money, obviously. These videos are going to be me prepping to teach that class, so a lot of the information that's in that class you will find through these videos. Now, there are going to be some unrelated rantings, unrelated talkings, because I'm going to be gathering a bunch of information for the class, but throughout these videos you're going to be able to see everything that it takes for me to create this class, and you will learn a lot of the materials that I'm going to be teaching. These videos will be available on YouTube for free for about a month, and then I'm going to compile all of the many hours that these videos will be into one giant jumbo course, and it's going to be paid. So I hope that you come along, that some of your questions are answered. If you join me in the class, I hope to see you there. But let's not wait. Let's just get started. So first thing and foremost, what is the class that I'm teaching? I'm going to be teaching a script analysis class. And when it comes to working as an actor, analyzing scripts is a very, very important thing that you need to do. To be able to understand the intention of the writer, to be able to understand the tone of the actual scene, to be able to know how to shift your voice to go into the performance that you're going to be actually showing, whether that's to casting, whether you're actually got the gig and you're going to actually perform, you're on set. All of these things. Script analysis is extremely important, but it's one of the least talked about, I should say, arts in this actual job. So when we start the class, we're going to be starting from the very beginning, which starts with imagination. Imagination is what I'm going to be teaching as a very big part of this course. The reason why is because when it comes to my job, I'm typically given very little idea of what I'm actually supposed to be doing. The world that I'm living in, the character that I'm inhabiting, I don't usually have a character description. Well, I usually get a description, but I don't usually have an image or anything of that nature. So I am just going based off of the world that I create. I'm working with a wonderful teacher. Her name is Jordan. And she puts it like this, and I love this idea. If you get a script and you're just reading the words and you're going based off of, okay, I'm going to hit this word in this way, I'm going to use this certain type of inflection, I'm going to say this in this certain light, you are just playing the words. And that is painfully boring to watch. You can be very good at playing the words, but you're going to be good. It's not going to be the thing that shifts you necessarily into that next realm of work, right? If you can create the environment that those words live in, create the situation, the scenario, the very reductive who, what, when, where, why, and how, if you can create the relationship, if you can hear what's actually happening in that world and inhabit it with the people, with the imagery, then you're not going to be simply playing to an idea. You're going to be existing in a world. And your words will move with the actual relations that they actually need in that environment. And then you can feel free to actually start to play around in that context. So when it comes to these classes, I'm going to be doing imagination exercises. These are things that I learned at the Stella Adler Academy. And a lot of the teachings that I'm going to be providing work very well with Stella Adler's teachings. I love the ideas that she shared about acting. If you want a little bit more information, she has a book. It's absolutely incredible. So, first exercise is an imagination exercise. When it comes to this, you're going to be following along. This is exactly what I'm going to be doing in class. But I might stumble because this is me practicing for the class. Take a deep breath in and out. Take a deep breath in and out. Okay. In an imagination exercise, your only job is to follow along with my words. You're going to be picturing the scenarios and interacting with them in your mind. So I want you to close your eyes. I want you to still your body, relax, and be calm. Now breathe in again, eyes closed, and out. Now freeze. I want you to look around. To your left. Nothing but darkness. In front of you, darkness. And to the right, more darkness still. You're in a black box. I want you to look up. Now there it is. There's a blanket of stars covering the night sky. You hear some wind. It's a cold breeze. You look around again. Now when you look to your left, there's a tree. It's not close, but not far. I want you to start walking towards that tree. And be very careful. Look down on the ground. There are sticks littering your path. Pick up a stick. It's small, fiddly. I want you to hold it in your hand and inspect that stick. It's not that interesting. What does the stick look like? What does it feel like? It's not heavy. It's small in your hands. And I want you to take it in your other hand, take it between both hands and snap it. Now you have two halves of one whole. Put the stick back down on the ground and keep walking towards that tree. And as you're walking towards the tree, I want you to know you are moving forward. So the tree's getting bigger and bigger and bigger as you move towards the tree. And look down again, stop. Now there's a box. The box looks like it's shaking around a little bit. It's moving, there might be something in it. I want you to reach down and pick that box up. It's kind of heavy, so reach down it. Use your strength and pick up the box. And okay, put it down. Nice. Oh, you feel the box shaking. Huh. Whatever is inside this box is not happy. I want you to slowly open it. Peel back one side, the other side. Now there are only two flaps. Oh, it's shaking, it's shaking. One more. Half of the box is open. You can see it's just dark in the corner. Now open it. And there it is. It's a cat. Just a little kitten. Look over the top of the box and look down. You see that cat? Why is there a cat out here on such a cold night? This thing is gonna freeze. I want you to reach your hand in the box, dodge the claws, pick up that cat. Just hold it. It's an orange tabby cat. It's a kitten, so it's small. It's mewing at you. I want you to put that cat in your open palm. Just put it down. I want you to look all around. You are holding an orange cat. Small. I want you to pet its head. Feel how soft the fur is on this cat. Such a soft animal, this one. Looks well taken care of, which is confusing because he was in a box outside under the skies, but you know, we'll just ignore that. He doesn't have a collar, any tags. He's still meowing at you. He might be hungry. Let's see if there's any food around. I want you to take this cat, pick him back up with the other hand, and I want you to put him in the box again. Now that you know it's a cat, be very careful. Close that box, close all the flaps. I want you again to pick up the box. It's suddenly lighter. Now that you know there's nothing but a small kitten in it, it's really not that heavy now, is it? It's so interesting. All right. Now you know your cat is hungry. So you got to go get your cat food. Put him underneath your arm. And I want you to continue walking towards the tree, okay? Yeah. And the tree is now still getting bigger and bigger. And you're here. It's so tall. It looked tiny from back there. Huh. Look down at the trunk. I want you to reach out and feel the trunk. This is a really old tree. It's one where you can really feel the rough bark. It's not smooth like an aspen. It's really rough and aged. Look down at the base, and there it is. A can of tuna. I want you to put the box down and pick up that can of tuna. I want you to take the lid and roll it back. Oh, the cat's meowing. You hear that? It already smells the tuna. Roll it back. Put the tuna down. I want you to open that box. Open all 4 flaps. I want you to take your can of tuna. First of all, I want you to give it a whiff. It's fishy. Never been a fan of tuna myself. It's really fishy. I want you to take your finger and dip it in. Swirl it around. I want you to taste that. Salty, salty fish. Tastes like anchovies. Okay, I want you to put it down in the box and watch as the cat eats. Just look how happy this cat is. A couple minutes ago, he was a huge weight, wasn't he? Bouncing around in that box, scaring you half to death. And now this little kitten is eating happily. I want you to go ahead and close up all 4 sides of the box. He has his tuna. He's nice and happy. I want you to take a deep breath in and breathe out nice and loud. Breathe. Breathe in and out. And in and out. And open your eyes. See, the beautiful and magical thing about an imagination exercise like that is that eventually you lose track of where you are, of the time, of the space that you're in. When you open your eyes, it takes a second to kind of reorient yourself. Now, the reason why we do imagination exercises is because, yes, scene study and script analysis is about reading and understanding intention, being able to understand subtext, being able to understand what's actually between the words, the intention of the characters, why they are saying what they are saying, why they are behaving and acting the way that they are acting, what are their final intentions, what are they looking to get out of the situation, are they genuine or disingenuine, what are they actually looking for. But you're not going to be able to bring any of that to life unless you can truly put yourself in the scenario. As theater actors or on-camera actors, it might be a little different, unless you're working with a green screen or a blue screen if you're on camera, because you have more reality to play with. You have scene partners that are going alongside you, you have props, you have wardrobe, you have actual environment, the set that you're in, you have visuals, you have sound, you have a lot more to play with. As voice actors, we are more so limited. We are typically working with nothing but a microphone and ourselves in our environment that we are already used to and comfortable with, without a scene partner and just a script. Imagination work is important no matter what you are doing. because as actors, one of the things that we all have in common is that we have to audition. And we typically audition with not a lot of time, not a lot of info, and not a lot of materials. So in my class, we start with a warm-up. That is an imagination exercise. That's first things first. Now, since this is the first class, we're going to also go over just the principles, some of the more boring procedural things. And since this stems from Stella Adler, as well as my own experience in history, we're also going to be talking about the practical things that you can do in order to better understand the actual scene that you are in. Quick aside, one of the reasons why you might want to sign up for a private lesson or sign up for the class with me is because we're actually going to be reading and going through scripts. We're going to be also reading poetry. We're going to also be reading scenes from plays. We're going to be memorizing. We're going to be working with scene partners. We're going to be doing all of this and more because in acting, just like in music, just like in drawing, just like in any of the creative arts, the way to understand this is by doing. So I do very little actually talking at you when it comes to my class, unlike this video, which is why I put in exercises so that hopefully you can work along with me. Now, first things first, acting doesn't really have a concrete definition. What we do is buried very much so in the, as I like to call it, mysticism. We don't know what makes a performance enchanting. We only know when we see it and when we feel it. The closest that we have to a concrete definition is from Meisner, which is acting is bringing an imaginary circumstance to life and playing it as though it is a real circumstance. That is paraphrased, that's not the exact quote. But the idea is, can you bring an imaginary fake circumstance into the real world with nothing more than the skills and the tools that you have? Some of those skills and tools in the toolbox come from scene study and analysis, script study. They come from understanding things like poetry, understanding how scenes actually work, understanding imagination work and exercises, so that when you actually need to pull from a depth of emotion, we don't pull from actual real experiences, because that can be very tiring and it can bring undue traumas that we don't really want to start to get into, which is why I like Stella Adler. Stella Adler's idea was character and writing. Two ideas: imagination work to bring about reality and character, and writing is king. Actually abiding by and studying the great writers and sticking to what the writer's intention and meaning was. Not as a concrete formula, but actually being able to understand the intention of what is in a scene, what is in a script. The way that I break this into actual voice acting and voiceover and into my career is that when it comes to a scene, I will break the script down again and again and again, not to just understand the words, but in order to understand the subtext and the meaning of those words. Here's tip number one for you. When you have an audition, whether it's from an agent, you found it online, you're just practicing a monologue, what you should be doing is understanding the context of the world that the scene lives in, and understanding the context of where that scene is playing. Not the show, perhaps, but what is the network? Who is the director on the show? Is there any previous work from the show so that you understand the world that the show exists in? As one of my mentors, Everett, has always said, everything exists in its own space. Animation is one giant overarching bubble. But Nickelodeon is different than Cartoon Network, is different than Disney Channel. And if you apply Nickelodeon principles to a Disney Channel show, you are not going to exist properly in that world or in that format. This is all a part of script analysis. Truly understanding how to approach a script, not just based on the words or the vibes or your feelings, but also based on the research that you have done. So in this class, we're going to be going over how you can do that research, how you can utilize things like YouTube, IMDb, existing media, whether that be streaming platforms or traditional media, why you should be watching movies and plays and learning monologues and poetry. We're also going to be giving out different monologues and poems for you to read and perform in class. Each class, you will have a performance to do. And each class, you will have scenes to work on with a partner, where you're going to be working up a scene to present, because that is how you truly learn in this craft that is acting. So, there's not really too much more concrete that we can go over today, other than potentially finding the scenes that we're going to be working on in the poems that I'm going to be doling out. And that it doesn't sound boring, actually. It might be kind of interesting from the perspective of you will be able to see what the thought process is when it comes to selecting these. So I'm going to show you a poem that I had to memorize while I was in school, and that I had to go over while I was in school, right? And this is going to give you a little bit of an idea of what we are looking for and how we actually perform when in class. So, the poem that I had to read when in school was a photograph from September 11th. Yes, the stuff that we do in class is going to be also emotional. There are going to be things that deal with adult themes, because in our lives as actors, a lot of the things and projects that we work on sometimes deal with adult and mature themes. This poem I will read. Before we begin, understand, my teacher Tim used to say this, you have to prepare and start in the proper place. Because if you just rush and jump in, it's like rearranging the deck chairs on the Titanic. It won't make a difference. So get ready and start when you're ready. They jumped from the burning floors. 1, 2, a few more. Higher, lower. The photograph halted them in life and now keeps them above the earth, towards the earth. Each is still complete with a particular face and blood well hidden. There's enough time for hair to come loose, for keys and coins to fall from pockets. They're still within the air's reach, within the compass of places that have just now opened. I can only do 2 things for them. Describe this flight and not add a final line. The reasons why we go through poems like this is because poetry, in my opinion, is one step closer to understanding the true reasons for why we exist in this world. If you can read and understand poetry, it is akin to understanding philosophy. It's powerful. The meanings in this world and themes in this world are based on themes that we could not hope to understand, so we have to write it in a way where we have to strive to understand it and decode it for our own individual selves. If it was spelled out, it would be too easy. And it gives you the perfect chance to look through and understand subtext. On the top, this story seems just like a sad story, witnessing a photograph from 9/11. It's written with descriptive in mind, showing you images from the photograph that was seen. Through the subtext, through understanding who wrote this, the life that they lived when they fled their own country, we can start to understand that this has a deeper meaning, a meaning of, dare I say, hope in the resilience of human beings. Hope in the choice that someone would make at the end of their life to jump and go out on their own terms instead of falling victim to the plot of the attack. And we see this all the time with slaves who choose to try and escape even though it might mean their life. People who decided to jump. Prisoners of war who fight desperately to their last breath. All in the resiliency of the human spirit. So if we just take this and we just read through this without understanding anything about it, because we haven't done any script analysis, we've just looked at it and thought to ourselves, this is sad. I know what 9/11 is from my experience. I know that it was a sad event. So I'm reading this and it seems sad. So I'm going to take that in and internalize that and then read it. And there's no hope. There's no triumph. There's no understanding that humans are resilient. You're just going to be reading a sad poem. But if you can begin to understand the context that it exists in, put your own life aside for a moment to do the analytical homework to see who wrote it, what time period did they write it in, what was happening during that time period, what did this poem mean, just like what did the scene mean, just like what did this script mean, what does this mean in this moment. It's going to completely change, and you go from reading something that's just sad to reading something different. So for example, what if this is someone who saw the photograph of someone jumping from the building and they just lost their family during the attack, and they are so distraught, but they see this photograph and it gives them a feeling of hope because they know that maybe their family member did go out on their own terms. They remember how stubborn and pig-headed they were, and how they broke their ankle doing BMX, and then the second that it was healed, immediately went back out and broke it again because they just would do whatever the hell they wanted on their own term. So in a way, this photograph actually gives them hope. So they see it and they go, they jumped from the burning floors. 1, 2, a few more, higher, lower. The photograph halted them in life and now keeps them above the earth, towards the earth. Each is still complete with a particular face and blood well hidden. There's enough time for hair to come loose, for keys and coins to fall from pockets. They're still within the air's reach, within the compass of places that have just now opened. I can only do two things for them. Describe this flight and not add a last line. That will completely change the read. And the thing about it is, in this world of acting, there is no correct or incorrect. There is. But when it comes to your performance, that in which I just did, reading the poem like that, is a choice. That is a bold choice. Having that idea of that scenario, being able to visualize on the fly due to my imagination exercises how that would look and how that would exist and how that would feel, and being able to internalize all of that to perform this way is a bold choice, because it's my choice and it exists in a very real, not canned way. So in my class, we're going to be reading poems. We're also going to be reading scenes from plays. The reason why we read poems and scenes from plays, and not only voiceover assignments, even though this class is tailored towards voice acting, is because as a voice actor, you are an actor. You are an actor first and foremost. Your speciality is being able to apply your voice and apply your trade to be able to do different things, a variety of things, whether you want to be one note or a character actor, versatile chameleon. There are a lot of different paths that you can do, but at the end of the day, you are an actor, first and foremost. So I'm going to train you as an actor versus training you specifically as a voice actor. We will do specific exercises that will help you get there. But when it comes to poetry, and when it comes to scenes, and when it comes to the special assignments that I'm going to be giving that I learned from Stella Adler, love these assignments, the most important thing is that you be able to grapple with very heavy, dense material, to break it down in a way and analyze it so that it makes sense to you. Because for a lot of the scenes that I do, and a lot of the projects that I get, whether they be, once again, for agents or just something that I find online, they're not very complex when it comes to the words, but the subtexts and meanings are where the complexities come in. So that's what's important for you to understand and be able to truly digest. So this is just the first stage and the first day of the Stella Adler class, otherwise known as How to Truly Read Through a Script. I'm going to be putting a link to the course down below so that you can truly read through it and understand it. You can sign up for it if that's what you're looking for. But yeah, these videos are just going to kind of accompany it. They're going to exist here on this platform so that anybody who's looking to get a deep dive into what my class is going to be about and truly understand a more rambling perspective before I start to really put it together, you can watch and follow along. So thank you so much for joining. I'll catch you in the next video.